Thanks for joining our Oracle Integration Webcast. I'm Jürgen Kress, part of the Oracle Product Management team. In case you missed one of our webcasts, on-demand recordings are available on Oracle Video Hub, including presentation for download. In today's presentation, José Rodriguez from Link Consulting and our product management team will present an Oracle integration update and discuss customer success factors. Sandhya, welcome to the call.
Thanks, Jürgen. I'm part of the integration product management team, taking care of integration insight. Thank you.
Thank you. José, welcome to our webcast.
Hi, Jürgen. Hi, everyone. I lead the integration cloud native and virtual assistant service portfolio at Link Consulting, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Harris, thanks for joining.
Hi, Jürgen. Thanks a lot. I'm part of the business development group, and lovely to talk to everyone today.
Good morning, Arvind.
Thanks a lot, Jürgen. Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. I'm part of the product management team for integration and process.
And hello to Franconia. Neil, thanks for joining.
Yeah, Grüß Gott miteinander. Hello, my name is Neil Kumusky. I'm the product manager for Oracle integration in EMEA.
And good morning, Srini. Thanks for joining the call.
Thank you, Jürgen. Hello, everybody. I lead the outbound product management team for Oracle Integration Cloud and the Digital Assistant, and glad to be a part of this session here today.
As we are talking about product roadmap and features, please pay attention to our safe harbor statement. For today's agenda, we will start with the latest announcement, and Neil will highlight the Oracle Integration May release. José and Harris will discuss a customer success story, and Arvind will present the B2B demo. At the end of the webcast, we will answer your questions. So let's get started. Over to you, Srini, for the latest announcements.
Thank you, Jürgen. And thank you very much for taking the time to hear our product roadmap and kind of continue to provide feedback for us. And thanks to all of you. For the fourth year in a row, we are once again named the leader in the September 2020 Gartner Magic Quadrant for the Enterprise Integration Platform as a Service report. And we fully anticipate when the next one comes out for 2021, we will continue to be the leader in this space. Thanks once again to all of you. Jürgen, if you can please go on to the next slide. And it really helps us. Jürgen, next slide, please. So it really helps us if you can take a couple of minutes of your time to go onto the Gartner Peer Insights and provide your candid review in terms of what's working for you and what's not working. Gartner uses this data in order to continue to rank us, and equally important, it also helps us understand what's working for you and what's not working for you so that we can incorporate the right elements in our product roadmap and make sure that the experience for you folks as you use our product is a very delightful one, right? And you're going to the next slide, which is the really interesting part of the whole thing is, I'm very, very pleased to say that as soon as this webcast is over and you folks have a copy of this deck, you will be able to get access to this particular on-demand webcast where you have a great opportunity to hear one of the most distinguished analysts that I've ever had an opportunity to interact with at Gartner, Massimo Pezzini. And he's done a wonderful job of articulating his vision in terms of how leading companies out there are leveraging the concept of digital hub in order to accelerate their initiatives and business initiatives to kind of deliver better services and better products to their customers. So I would encourage all of you to listen to Massimo about his vision in terms of where this is going, and also have an opportunity to listen to Suhas, who's a very distinguished speaker who leads our integration product and the digital assistant product, to say how Oracle is actually helping our customers with the concept of the digital integration hub and how it can help you fuel your innovation. Thank you, Jürgen.
Thank you very much, Srini, for those key announcements. We are recording today's webcast, and the recording will be available at Oracle Video Hub. If you are not yet subscribed, please visit bit.ly/watchintegration. For collaboration, we would like to invite you to visit Oracle Cloud Customer Connect. There you can ask your questions. You can also share some innovations and you can earn badges. If you're looking for experts who can support your project, system integrators like Link Consulting, you can find our partners at partner-finder.oracle.com. And you can also look up the Cloud Marketplace, where you find like pre-built adapters. Please make use of our documentation and training material. The team is providing an awesome job to give you the latest updates on Oracle integration at tinyurl.com/OIC documentation. If you would like to try the product with the tutorials we provide, you can get a free trial, which includes Oracle integration at oracle.com/tryit. For more information and all the details, please read our new Oracle integration customer newsletter. The product management team provides you with a quarterly update, and you can subscribe at bit.ly/OIC newsletter. With that short introduction, I would like to hand over to Neil and Sandhya.
Excellent, excellent. So welcome everybody. It's a lovely day here in Bavaria. We had terrible rain the last couple of days, but today the sun is shining, so it's very, very pleasant, and I hope it's the same wherever you are. So without further ado, let's get into the May 21 new features screen. So again, just going back over our methodology here, we have the concept of these. We don't have the concept of these quarterly updates. We do have quarterly updates. The last one there, of course, one we're talking about now is May 2021. But of course, there was a release planned for August, November, and of course, then back into the spring of 2022. So one of the things that we do not cover in this, and we cannot cover in this session because purely of the constraints of the duration, is all of the new features. So the new features are discussed in depth in the What's New docs, which are available on docs.oracle.com. So they will go through every single feature, describing exactly what it is and pointing you to the documentation for more information. So again, this link will be available on the PowerPoint when you get it. So again, our product focus areas. So, but the last webcast we had these same product focus areas: developer productivity, where we're looking at making the tool even easier, or the toolkit even easier to use for developers. Pre-built connectivity. Here we're looking at what we're doing in respect of adapters, pre-built integrations, recipes, accelerators, etc. Of course, the other areas are very important as well: operations, reliability and scalability, and real-time visibility, where we'll be looking at integration insight. So when we look at the release that we have now coming from a developer productivity perspective, one of the first things we have here is the configurator enhancement. So we've enhanced the experience within the package configurator, and this will allow you as developers to replace, for example, replace a connection if it's used by one or more inactive integrations. So it's configuring stuff at package level. The next one there, move integration test UI from Swagger to Open API. So what's the value add of that? Well, the new enhancements will provide a broader support for attachments with full support for multi-part form data content type. So it'll allow you as developers to test the integrations, those which require multi-file as attachment within OIC itself. The third bullet here, header mapping support for local invoke and REST. So just imagine you're invoking an OIC REST-based integration from another OIC integration using local invoke. Now you as developers will be able to map the HTTP and custom headers of that target. Now automatically stop the schedule of an integration while deactivating it. So this is just saving you a couple of extra clicks or steps here. So when you deactivate an integration, we will automatically stop the schedule associated with that integration. So again, it's just saving you time and effort there on that. Now let's look at pre-built connectivity. So we have a couple of new adapters there for Jira, for Azure SQL. And what's interesting here, we have one for Amazon Marketplace as well. So this may be interest for you customers with e-commerce sites where you have to process orders that are taken in Amazon, for example, in your ERP. You see, after I think we have in brackets limited availability. So here's where we as product management will be very interested in you customers who will be interested in trying this out. So please, you can either put it into the Q&A or mail us afterwards, but that's just a call to action for those interested in trying out the Amazon Marketplace adapter. So we don't just release new adapters, we also add new features to existing adapters. For example, the Kafka adapter now has support for the Avro format. Many customers have been asking for that. Shopify has now multi-domain support. And another thing we have here is an ATP ADW, bulk data file import. And that's something I will be demoing afterwards. Now, this is a very compelling new feature here that leverages OCI object storage under the hood to allow you to performantly import large files into your ATP database or ADW database. The Salesforce Commerce Adapter has been augmented to support the Shop API, whereas the Workday Adapter, additional interfaces have been added there, i.e. more functionality for you as users there. Now, what we also have from our partner, Advantco, we have a set of, we have 5 adapters or custom adapters developed by this partner. Now, these aren't shipped with OIC per se, but they are available via Advantco, and the information about each of these adapters is available on the Oracle Cloud Marketplace. So if you go to the integration section on the Oracle Cloud Marketplace, you will see these 5 adapters. Advantco describe exactly what use cases they support, and then you have the contact there at Advantco if you want to progress with that. So now I'm coming to the ATP bulk load demo. Now, to save time, I've actually did this as a video. This is my first time actually using a video, but here, let's go and do it. So in this simple example, I've got a file in FTP here, and I want to process that file and push it to the Oracle Autonomous Database here. So it's going to go through OIC. We're going to use the FTP adapter to read that file. And then the ATP adapter here will do the magic. The magic consists of pushing that to an OCI bucket and then calling a function within Oracle ATP to load that file, it's a DBMS package, to load that file from the bucket into the database here. Now, I also have the option when configuring this in the ATP adapter, whether I want to delete the file after successful upload from the bucket here, or else leave it, which is what I do in the demo. So I'll just progress through this here. So I've just turned on the volume here. One thing to notice here is you can see here the object storage definitions are fields that are now in the ATP adapter configuration here. So these are what I've been using under the hood. Now just look at the very, very simple integration here. I'm going to read that file from the FTP, and I'm just going to push that file through this ATP adapter invoke here to the database. So let's continue a bit further here. So now I think I'm just going to go in here and just show you what this looks like here. This is the bulk orders. And here it is here. So you can see we've got a new operation available here. Perform bulk data import operation. So it's as simple as that, so to speak. And of course, within that, you can see that we're specifying which bucket in, like, okay, you have to set up this bucket in object storage beforehand, but you select that bucket from the list, and then you select the target table. In this case, it's going to be my orders table here. So very, very simple what we're doing here. And of course, I can specify which fields from the orders table I'm going to be filling here. And there's the checkbox I mentioned, giving you the ability to keep the file after completion or delete it. And there are the fields from the database table. So here's my list of orders. I just say is for the hair, the dog, pub, Guinness, more Guinness, even more Guinness. And that's what we're going to be loading here, those orders. And very, very simple. What happens here? Here's my database. So this is my target database in ATP. As you can see here, it's empty. And now I'm just going to go in and kick off that demo. So all I'm going to do is submit now. Check on the flow here. It's completed. I drop across now to look at, here's my object storage. So just refresh my object storage. So of course, here's the CSV file I was showing you earlier there. And I go back to the database and the data is there. So I know that's very, very simple, but very, very succinct. And I think that's one of the nice things, like it's what we're looking at here is not a complicated demo. And that's what I love here as well, is the fact that it is so simple, and the way OIC takes really, it makes the complexity totally transparent for you as a developer of the integrations. So now back to the presentation. Now, we've done great stuff with Insight in this release as well. And Sandy is going to go through a demo showing exactly the highlights of this. But still for those folks who aren't too sure of what Insight actually gives you, just think of it. You've got OIC with the integrations running, with your business processes running. And of course, you've probably got many business users interested in what's going on in those integrations and in those processes. Now, for the sysadmin style folks, they can go in and they can look at the traces or the tracking within OIC. But what about the business users? And they don't want that sort of single view of a flow by flow view. They want aggregated views. You know, what are my top products that have been sold this week? You know, for an onboarding scenario, you know, which department is hiring the most people, where the top salaries been paid, et cetera, et cetera. So these real-time business dashboards give you real-time visibility into your business processes. And of course, they are for the business owners. And because the business owners won't be using OIC, the business owners will be using apps such as Fusion ERP, for example, or NetSuite, or Oracle HCM. We would be able to embed we are now able to embed these dashboards in those apps. So that's like really key benefit. It's not as if, oh, you've got another tool that you have to, you know, go to see these. We show them where you do your work. So of course, Insight itself is very, very easy to use, and you define your business metrics via dashboards. And of course, there's no need for IT resources to do this. Like, you were deciding, what are the milestones in my business processes? Which are the milestones that the business folks are interested in? And based on those milestone definitions, dashboards will be generated, and data will be pushed to those dashboards at runtime from your integrations and processes. So you can see here, drag and drop key business milestones and all of that sort of stuff here. And of course, what's the benefit of this? It's not kind of like, we have a saying in Ireland, you know, closing the gate after the horse has bolted. You know, what's the use in doing that? The idea here is preventing business failures and delayed tasks with early warnings and actionable insights. So we're not just giving you the dashboards, we're also giving you alerts. For example, an alert when one of your top customers has put in an order, or if there's some dichotomy there, an order's value is too high or whatever. Or if the status of the inventory goes under 10%, I want an alert generated for that. But with that, I'm going to pass on to Sandia, who's going to show exactly what we have in this respect. So Sandia, are you ready to show?
Thanks, Neil, for that quick introduction about Insight. Like Neil already mentioned, we have a number of really interesting features with integration Insight. And one of the key features that we have introduced as part of May is the ability to map Insight with process flows. So in the previous releases, we focused on having a native integration of Insight with the integration flows, and May focused on a couple of features, one of them being alerts, and the other key feature was mapping Insight with process flows. Now, with this feature, what we can do is, if your business use cases span across both integration and process flows, you can have a consolidated view of your business process through Insight. That's what is the key benefit of bringing Insight with process. Now, to achieve this, what are the keys? What are the steps that we need to follow? First is to create an Insight model and activate it. this insight model has to align with your business process. Once the insight model is available, the next step is to link this insight model to a process application. Once the linking is done, then we drag and drop this linked insight activity at different points within the structured process flow. Wherever we want to take the business metrics and push it to insight, we drag and drop this component and collect that information and pass it on to insight. Once that is done, we are good to activate the process. And when we do some testing, like trial runs, we can see the insight dashboard collecting the metrics and providing an insight about what is actually happening with the process. So that's what we do with the process and insight mapping. Now I'll quickly take you guys to the part where I show you the demo. So let me go to the video here and play this. Okay, so what you're seeing here is our OIC homepage, and this is where we have already created an insight model. For the demo, I have created a travel request model. It is a very simple model and it's already activated. I'll show you the basic structure of the insight model here. I've created a couple of milestones. The first milestone is an initial milestone, which is travel request initiated. Then I have a travel request approved milestone, which is a standard milestone. Then I have travel request rejected, which is an error milestone. Then the travel request under review, which is another standard milestone. And finally, the travel request completed, which is the terminal milestone. So this is the milestone part. Then I define an identifier, which is travel request ID, followed by the indicators. Travel request ID will uniquely associate the transactions or help us identify the transactions. In indicators, we have approve reason, reject reason, and travel justification categorized as dimensions. And dimensions are generally used to group your transactions. The other part of it is travel tenure and travel request amount, which are measures and generally numeric values on which you would want to do some computation. So this is a very simple insight model that I've created. And I've also activated this insight model. Now, according to our steps, the next step would be to associate this with the process itself. So the other aspect here we have to note is we have activated this model, and this has to be activated to be possible for process to discover this. So now let us move into the process applications here. I've created a travel approval application. It is based on the quick start template that we already have. So I've chosen that, and what I've done here is I've linked the model that I showed earlier to this particular process application. And one of the important things to be noted is in this menu section here, you see an insight category. And this is where we link the process flow to the insight models. If you see here, I've already done the association. I'll show you quickly how can a new association be created. By clicking on the create button here, you can link to an already activated insight model. We have a list of insight models which are activated. And in this scenario, I've chosen the travel request model and clicked on link below. And this will help us create the association. So this does the part where we know that this process will use this insight model. So that linking is done. Now we move to the next step where we actually tell in the process flow where we want to push the metrics to insight. And to do that, what we'll have to do is drag and drop this activity within the insight section into the process flow itself. So like you see in the process flow already, I have at a few points already dragged and dropped this component. Wherever I find the necessity to push the metrics to insight, I've already done that. Now, I will show you an example of how this can be done with the last milestone, which I have not yet mapped. So that I will drag and drop now into the structured process, and I will mark the complete milestone. So when I go here and show the click on the options, I want to call it the completed milestone. And then here, when I open the properties, I can choose the milestone that I want to mark as passed. When the transaction reaches this point, I choose travel request completed as the milestone. As I choose the milestone, the next thing that happens is the indicators associated with that milestone shows up in the data association, and I can push the data to that particular milestone along with the indicators associated with that milestone. In this case, it's only the instance ID. So I map the instance ID, I'm done. And then I apply my changes, I'm good to go. So the similar thing I've done for other milestones here, that is initial and other standard milestones. Now, once this is done, we need to test and test this particular flow. So here I am submitting a sample request. I'm just filling up the form with details. And then once we submit, we will see how Insight is able to track this particular transaction. So I'm giving a start and end date for my travel, and I fill in the other cost and justification details. And once that is done, I submit this particular request. When I submit, I also get an instance ID, which will help me in my tracking in the Insight console. So now let us move to the Insight console and see how this particular dashboard looks like. So now the request that we submitted, let's get into the milestone list view from the summary here. Yes, this is the one that we submitted right now. It is under review. So the travel request has been submitted, but it is under review. This means there must be something waiting in my tasks. Yeah, I do find something here. And then once I approve this, it goes further in my Insight transaction, and you will see that the request has got completed. So in real time, you're able to understand and get a real-time visibility into what's exactly happening with your process transactions. And you can also understand exactly at what time each of these milestones were passed by that particular transaction. So this is the demo, which is focusing on the process and insight mapping. Like I said, it can also be extended to scenarios where you have use cases spanning across multiple integration and process flows. You can build a consolidated view in Insight and understand how your business is performing and where attention needs to be given. With this, I come to the end of the demo.
So here's the plan of intent for the August release. Now, the update window will be July 14th here. And we see here developer productivity. Here we've added great new functionality with the conversational assistant to support Oracle integration users. So this is a chatbot that will give you advice on OIC. So we'll see a simple example of that going forward now. Process, we see there's some additions that have been made there as well, making it easier to search tasks based on business data and so on. We've new features as well in Insight coming as well, enhancements to the embedded Insight process progress tracker. You may have 20 milestones, but for the progress tracker, you only want to show 6 or 7 of them. You will be able to do that as well. And more features in respect of alerting and so on. So if we go on now here to this thing here, just to show you, I think I should have it here as well. Yeah, new adapters as well. You can see here, there's a plethora of new adapters going to be available in August. Zendesk, Sugar CRM, eBay. Again, eBay, think of e-commerce and so on. New features to existing adapters, as you see here. B2B will also have new functionality, and Arvind is going to be going in depth into B2B and what it actually offers today in a few minutes. And then a plethora again of recipes. Now just think of recipes. These are quick starts for you folks if they are best practice implementations of specific integration use cases. And you just point them to your source and target and they will run, and naturally enough, you can configure them to suit your needs. So again, this is the innovative product user assistant I was talking about there. And just to give you a view of what that could look like here, I think we have a movie that will show up here in a second. If not, I will. Oh, here it is here, yeah. So you can see, you can imagine this is something that'll be embedded in OIC that allow you to just, okay, what can I help you with next? And you say, how do I import employees into HCM? And it'll, okay, where's the data coming from, et cetera, and point you to examples for all of these things here, which new features are available and all of this thing, making it just even easier for you to get the salient information that you require to be successful with OIC. So without further ado, I'm going to pass on to Jose from Link Consulting. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Neil. That was an impressive presentation. And thanks for the detailed updates on the product releases, on the May release. And thanks to Sandhya for the nice demos. We continue with our customer success story. And I would like to hand over to Harris and Jose.
Thanks a lot, Jürgen. And yeah, looking at all the features which are coming, I think they're all very exciting. Right now, I would just like to have a chat with Jose. Jose, how are you today?
I'm fine, thanks. And you?
I'm good. I know you introduced yourself briefly at the start of the call, but can you please just introduce yourself one more time?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So I lead the integration, the distributed architectures and virtual assistant service portfolio at Link Consulting. I've been in the IT for roughly 20 years, 20 something, with the last 13 to 14 strongly focused on Oracle middleware. So first, of course, with BPM and so, and now with OIC, API platform, API gateway, you name it, as well as on Oracle cloud infrastructure.
Great. And I know I've been talking to you about the customer. So which customer are we going to be discussing today?
So we're going to talk a bit about Prio. Prio is one of the biggest players in the oil and gas industry in Portugal. They do not only fuel and gas retail, but they are also strongly involved in sustainability and recycling. And they're one of the biggest players in the electric mobility area right now. So they have this multi-cloud strategy at heart, and nearly all of their systems are currently running in one of their cloud providers, which also adds a bit of a challenge with when it comes to integration.
So I think we are just on that. On that. So Prio, as a major company, you mentioned that they have quite a few challenges when it comes to integration. So what are some of those customer challenges that they were facing before you embarked on this journey?
So I think it's also because they started pretty early to put the majority of their systems in the cloud. They ended up adopting a lot of point-to-point integration strategy. So they didn't have anything centralized. And so this with time, of course, became an issue that they needed to solve. This also brings specific challenges on monitoring and in visibility of what's actually going on. And because they have like 40 to 50 distinct systems and solutions, they ended up doing the integrations in all kind of technology flavors. So ones were done in technology A and ones were done in technology B, and then things need to match up. And this always kind of drained them in terms of their own internal resources, because they needed so much distinct expertises, and also led to typically large development times. So what they really wanted was to have like an integration backbone, something that in which they could build their integrations, and in which they could not only design the integration, execute it, but also control and manage pretty much all aspects involved.
Great. And, Prio, I think from these challenges, what I understand working with you, they decided to choose and use Oracle Integration Cloud. one of the great aspects of this story is when I look at your customer benefits, it seems like SAP was the center of their main ERP platform. And how did you find using Oracle Integration Cloud, integrating with SAP and other applications?
Yeah, well, for us, it was actually the first time that we used the SAP adapter extensively. It was, I mean, it took us so much time from a lot of the integrations that we need to do, and it really helped help deliver the actual project sooner. Prio does it's completely SAP centric, so pretty much everything that is done with regards to every part of their business, from the fuel retail to the electric mobility to the recycling part, the refinement also. So everything goes through the SAP. So we did a pretty extensive use, and I can say that the feedback that we can give is that it works, and it really allows us to deliver quicker integrations with SAP.
Great. So we find that when we were working with Prio and integrating with SAP, using those adapters really benefit you, while you are using some other adapters, of course, the SFTP adapter or file adapter. Beyond Oracle Integration Cloud, I'm seeing a few other applications here. So how do they play a role in this architecture?
So we, as we were like doing the integration platform for the entire organization from scratch, we leveraged not only OIC, but also the API platform. And one of the key features that we really enjoy about the API platform and its documentation partner, which is Apiary, is that now they have a complete catalog of their own services, the ones that they're using internally and the ones that they're actually exposing outside. So this helped us in terms of governance, in terms of documentation, in terms of actually promoting the use of Prio services through their own partners. So this was really important. And of course, also, it was a big opportunity for us to leverage some of the OCI services, such as functions, because in some cases we required specific authentication mechanisms that Prio implemented themselves. So we leverage that also, and I mean it's a very good and cohesive ecosystem as a whole. So.
Perfect. And this is what we see our other customers as well, right? So when we are using Oracle Integration Cloud, being part of our Oracle Cloud infrastructure, the other services come in and play a key role. If there are any requirements, we have all those services available in OCI. So what's next for Prio? How does the expansion and acquisition looks like it for them from the early stages of the project?
Yeah, so as these first projects went very well, OIC is now like the key foundation for pretty much every single data transfer between systems in Prio, and they're actually expanding their the business cases and the use cases that go inside OIC. So as I mentioned before, they're a really strong player in the electric mobility area here in Portugal, and all of the integration needed to support their electric mobility business also goes now through OIC, which was something that was added at the beginning of this year. And Prio itself was acquired by a very large Spanish group called DISA, Grupo DISA, which is also a very strong player, not only in Iberia, but also in South America. And now there's an additional challenge, which is, as with any acquisition, now you have like two IT landscapes that need to work together. And OIC is playing a key role in that, especially with regards to Prio. Okay.
Thanks a lot for that. I'm just looking at time. Can you just quickly share the architecture just to give everyone an idea of what applications are being integrated here?
Yeah. So as you can see, Prio is leveraging a lot of cloud providers, some of course well-known and international, some specialized in just running in Portugal. As you can see also, the SAP, their SAP is running on a cloud provider as well. We also leverage their electric mobility business, which runs inside OIC, and of course it uses OKE, Oracle functions, and we use a specialty event broker because of the specific requirements, which is called Solus. But everything goes through Oracle Integration Cloud, and we expose pretty much every single API through the Oracle API platform.
Perfect. And when I look at these architecture diagrams and work with our customers, our product management team is doing such a wonderful job, because our service is so scalable and resilient. Because it is center of the business, and our customers, our businesses rely on this service. So Jose, I know our customers would love to reach out to you. So how can they connect with you, and how you can support them?
I mean, you can connect us through our website. Probably my contact in LinkedIn will also be available, and you can reach out whenever you want. We have 4 specialty products with regards to cloud and integration. First, it is an integration kickstart. We help companies who are still not well matured in the integration space to kick off a similar approach as we did with Prio. We typically start small, we prove the business value, and then if the customer wants, he can expand. What happened with Prio, just to share our experience, is that Prio brought in their own resources, and they learned on the job with us. So now they're pretty much independent. So they're now doing their own OIC integrations. We also feature an integration academy in which we train organizations in integration. We do interesting shifts. We use a specialized RPA tool that we developed in-house, and we do things like we pick up your SOA and OSB integrations, we transform them to OIC, and we do the same with WSO2, Fuse, MuleSoft, and it's also when you decide that you want to shift your integration platform, it's a very nice approach because it really saves you time. And finally, just to wrap this up, we have a link to cloud, what we call link to cloud, which is a series of cloud architecture archetypes that instantiate automatically a given set of use cases. So the organizations just need to bring their own code. They don't have to worry about anything. We supply these automated scripts that create the infrastructure, create the Kubernetes clusters that will support the applications. They just need to bring their own code, and we supply everything: security, DevOps, monitoring, everything straight out of the box.
Sure, Jose. Thanks a lot for that. And I know from Link Consulting, they can reach out to you, our customers across EMEA. I know our customers are working with you, whether they are based in UAE or Portugal. So the location doesn't really matter. Yeah, so over to you, Jürgen. Thanks a lot for this.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Harrison, and thank you, Jose, and congratulations for that amazing customer success stories. And yes, Link Consulting has delivered projects across the globe. So if you want to do an integration project, shift workload, and connect with SAP, they're definitely one of our excellent partners to support you. With that, we would like to hand over to Arvind to give us an update on B2B. Arvind, over to you.
So we'll go through a quick update on B2B, and specifically we'll focus on the May release, and we will walk through a quick demo as part of this. So, Oracle integration has been adding more and more B2B capabilities that fundamentally enables you to consider Oracle integration as a single integration platform, especially when it comes to doing multi-enterprise collaboration using B2B standards and protocols, such as EDI X12, UN EDIFACT, or AS2 and FTP. We have been continuing to add more persona-based capabilities, such as schema development for X12 and EDIFACT, trading partner management, B2B tracking. So there's a lot of capabilities that we have been adding, which fundamentally enables you to handle transactions coming from your trading partners, suppliers, customers, and manage that all the way through to your applications and directly integrate them. So as part of our update today, we will look at 3 new exciting features that we have added to B2B as part of our integration. The first one is transport support. So we introduced trading partner management as a core capability as part of our Feb release. We have now enhanced it to include transport creation. And we will also look at how the B2B integrations are created as part of this new feature. If you recall in Feb, as part of the Feb release, you still had to create your integrations for B2B, but we are now supporting the auto creation of these integrations, which means that as a B2B user, as a B2B analyst, you will not have to do actual work on the canvas. Rather, for FTP and AS2 protocols, for send and receive integrations, we will actually create them for you. The other capability that we are adding that is exciting is EDIFACT format support. We had added X12 previously, where you would be able to design schemas and create documents and use them in trading partner management. We have added support for the UN EDIFACT standards, and we will actually walk through that as part of the demo today. So let's go through a few key areas or standard support that we provide as far as B2B is concerned. Our primary objective has been to make the experience of onboarding your trading partners, creating your B2B integrations, and connecting them to your app integrations as easy as possible. This graphic depicts kind of some of the major steps required. We have consolidated and simplified it into 8 simple steps for X12 or EDIFACT-based standards when you're using AS2 and FTP, where you start by creating connections to either your trading partner through the protocol of your choice, and also your backend application. You have the ability to customize, create schemas as part of the product, create documents, use the backend integrations or create new backend application integrations, and then onboard your trading partner and start running production traffic through the system. So we will actually go through and see how simple it is for a B2B user to actually complete these tasks. Some of the prerequisites, the checklists that you will need to be aware of, and when this information is shared out, you will see links to documentation. We have updated design strategies that you can employ. We are also updated a number of key blogs and documents where you will be able to see some of the core aspects or core functionalities as well, such as the ability to create transports and maintaining them, how to best manage and create schemas and documents, and most importantly, how you would be able to create and manage your B2B transaction flows and connect them with your backend application systems. So we will look at these as part of the demo as well. Final slide here before we jump into our demo. The trading partner management at this point is quite complete, where we enable you to handle your setup for your company as part of your host profile. The trading partner UIs enable you to handle a number of things such as B2B identifiers, contact details, but most importantly, it enables you to handle and declaratively create your transports and agreements that you want to onboard. So we will primarily focus our demo on this area of the platform. And finally, with B2B tracking, you get specialized tracking to see how these transactions are going through the system. So let's move to the demo. Let me see if I can bring up the product here. So as part of a demo today, we will be looking at an outbound EDIFACT order that we will be creating for our trading partner, who will be the trading partner being Acme in this demo. So as part of our May release, we have added in the B2B design time, which is in the left panel here as part of our integration, we have enhanced the trading partner UIs to essentially have transports as well. So we will be actually onboarding a transport, but before we do that, let's actually look at the EDIFACT support that we've added as part of our the current release. With your previous releases, what you were able to do was you were able to create XML-based transactions in our system. So now what you can do is you can say orders with Acme, and you can select EDIFACT. I'm going to select the D98A. We support quite a lot of standards here as part of EDIFACT, all the way from 96 till 2020 in the product. So you have quite a lot of support. Similar to what you would be able to do for X12, you can actually see the standard, the message here. You would be able to see the different schema structures, come in here and say, for additional text, additional information, let's say that I want to modify something. You can come in, modify the max lengths, min lengths, usage conditionals, make fields mandatory. You also have the ability to manage and maintain some of the lookup and code lists and such. So there is quite a lot of support for these EDIFACT schemas that are part of the system. So in this demo, I'm now going to make a change. I'm going to save this as is. And with the current release, you have the ability to now add EDIFACT documents as well. So once you have created your schema, so you'll be able to come in here and say that I want to select the 98A. You can select orders. And once you do this, you would be able to say which particular schema that you have customized you want to use. So this gives you support for EDIFACT transactions, similar to how you would have handled X12. And once you have this, you would be able to come in to the transport and onboard transports. So here, we will say AS2 with Acme, and you can create the connections. And once you create the connections, you can actually say AS2 with Acme for the actual integrations. And these integrations will be auto-created for you, which means that as a user, you will not have to do anything. And once you deploy these transports, your integrations would also be deployed behind the scenes. So let's go ahead and quickly create an outbound agreement and actually run a transaction quickly. And let's say orders. You will have the ability to select all the details that you needed for the envelope, similar to what you would have done for X12. So you will be able to do all of this now for EDIFACT. Once the transport is selected or created, you can select the transport that you just deployed. And with similar to X12, you have the ability to handle functional acknowledgements as well from the product. And all of this can be created, deployed from right here within the trading partner once you're back in integration. So at this point, I have my transport as well as my outbound agreement created. So I'm going to run a test transaction here. And once this test transaction is run, I can go to my B2B tracking. So under monitoring, we have specialized B2B tracking. Now the tracking area supports EDIFACT transactions as well. So you can now see that the business message has been created. The AS2 transmission for this EDIFACT document has been completed. and you would be able to see all the details for EDIFACT similar to what you would have done for X12. So it's a very quick demo. It also it shows you how easy and simple we have made it for a non-technical B2B analyst or a user to be able to onboard trading partners once your backend integrations have been created. And with that, Jürgen, I will hand it off back to you.
Thank you very much for the update on B2B and the impressive demo. So to summarize the webcast, we have a lot of new functionality in the May release, and there's coming more in the next one. And discover new functionalities like the Oracle Insight and B2B. If you would like to learn more, please visit the Oracle integration website. And if you would like to try Oracle integration, you can start with a free trial. If you started, you please make use of the documentation. There you can find also some labs. And today's webcast is recorded and will be available at Oracle Video Hub. For more information, please subscribe to our quarterly newsletter and read the spring edition at bit.ly/OIC Spring 2021. I would like to say thanks to the whole team for answering all the questions in the Q&A module. And for the benefit of the audience, we would like to read out some of them. So Sally Shan is asking, what is the best way to handle bulk uploads? And what is the maximum file size in OIC? Maybe Neil, you can address this question.
Yeah, I think I addressed it in the chat. I ingested in the chat as well. Essentially, there's no limits on this. Like the read from the FTP can be done using chunked reads. So that's one way of breaking down the huge document. Now, if there is a particular use case that you have in mind, particular volumes, just send me an email and I'll check that out for you.
Thank you, Neil. And the next question is for Michael Minor. Michael is one of our product managers on the adapter side, and Teddy would like to know if it's possible to develop an own adapter.
Yeah, currently we don't have, the adapter SDK is not publicly available. So we only are making that available to a limited set of partners. We will look at providing it to be public at a later date.
So the good news is Oracle is working on an adapter SDK, which we use to develop adapters, and Oracle partners can get access to it. So if you're interested, please contact myself and we will start the discussion with you. Michael, we had a lot of questions on adapters in the FAQ. Do you want to summarize some of the questions and point out some highlights?
Sure. Yeah, we do have a very aggressive roadmap for adapters. Many of our customers, such as ones today, are asking for additional adapters to additional applications, and we are aggressively looking to support those adapters. A couple of questions came up about database adapters. We are actually looking, we are planning to develop a generic database adapter that will support a number of third-party databases. We are looking at NoSQL. Initially, we're going to support SQL-based databases, but we're also looking at supporting NoSQL databases as well.
Thank you, Michael. If you have questions, you can still post them in the Q&A tool, and we will try to answer them. Next question is for Simone. Simone Darrell would like to know what is our strategy from an integration perspective to work with DevCS and Git, as it was mentioned.
I'm sorry. Yeah, that's actually, that would be a question for Anthony. We are working with the Visual Builder Studio team on a strategy for CI/CD. There's a blog out there right now from Anthony that should help you with CI/CD today, but we are thinking that Visual Builder Studio is the right tool to combine with OIC for that. And it's still in the works, but once we have more clarity, we will send out a blog, and then we will add it to our documentation as well.
Thank you, Simone. And the next question is for Jose from Link Consulting. You showed the architecture of Brio and how they use Oracle integration to connect SAP. And One of the connections you did build is to OutSystems, where they do some custom development in a low-code environment. And can you give us some details how they integrate and why they don't use VBCS?
So it's basically a case of missed timing. So Prio is an early adopter of OutSystems. Of course, OutSystems, as you may know, is a Portuguese based company. It started in Portugal, and so a lot of the big companies here ended up being early adopters of OutSystems. They're currently, at least to my knowledge, they're currently not using the business process, I think it's called transformation tool technology, sorry, the VPT, which is pretty much like process is in OIC. So they're just using it to develop apps. I'm pretty sure that if any business case appears which requires us to leverage automated processes, process will give them a run for their money.
Thank you very much, Jose. And the last question goes to Neil. Srikant would like to know, what is a recipe?
Well, a recipe, think of a recipe as a best practice implementation of an integration use case. For example, an opportunity in Salesforce morphing into an order in NetSuite. We provide you with this recipe, and you could conceivably just point it to your Salesforce and point it to your NetSuite, and it'll run. Naturally enough, it's just like any other integration. You can go in and edit it, for the customizations that you require. So just think of it as it's a quick start. Instead of being on rung 1 of a 10 rung ladder, you're on rung number 7, and you've just got to put in your customizations, and then you're finished. And as you can see, going forward in August, we are placing more and more emphasis on this. So not just providing you the platform to create your integrations and your processes, but providing you out of the box integrations so that you can get running immediately. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Neil. Thank you to the Link Consulting and Oracle team for presenting in today's webcast. And thanks for everybody for attending our quarterly update. We are looking forward that you tune in also at our next webcast in September.